Aloha, welcome to the Live Ukulele podcast. My name is Brad Bordessa. Thanks for joining me here today. Today I'm talking to Maia Mayeshiro. We had a fun discussion covering all kinds of different topics, from recording to learning to studying and what the heck you do with yourself as an ukulele artist. Had a really great time talking to Maia, and I'm looking forward to bringing this one to you folks. Before we get started, just a reminder that the Live Ukulele podcast and Live Ukulele is completely user-supported, no ads, minimal affiliate stuff. And if you appreciate that and the content that I create, the best way for you to support is to go to liveukulele.com/store and to check out my ebooks and video courses over there. There's a lot of great stuff for you to learn, covering all kinds of different topics, all kinds of different subjects that you probably won't find a whole lot of other places. My angle that I kind of come to subjects from is a little bit unique, and I try and go places that other teachers maybe haven't gone as regularly. But check that out, liveukulele.com/store. And if you want to go above and beyond, you can become a supporting member. All of that info is in the podcast description. Thank you so much for your continued support and for tuning in. Without further ado, let's jump right in. This is Maia Mayeshiro. So I've seen some of your videos and, seen your wonderful playing, and I just would love to take this opportunity to kind of get to know you and hear about your music philosophy and stuff. Can we maybe start at the beginning of how you got into ukulele and started playing?
Sure. I was born and raised here on Oʻahu, and I feel like it's just part of the culture, which is pretty beautiful. I guess my early inspiration is my older brother, TJ. He and a lot of my family members were always playing the ukulele. So I don't even know if there was a moment where I started to learn. It was just always part of my life. And yeah, we just would play together. He would teach me stuff. I would just watch him and hide in my room and copy everything I would learn. And then one day, I was playing for my family, and they're like, "When did you learn how to play the ukulele?" And it just was always a part of my life. And I guess once they figured out I could play, they thought, let's do something with this. And my parents had us perform on the sidewalks to pay for our textbooks. And then we started entering ukulele competitions. And I guess now I'm in a stage where in my early adult life, I have the pleasure of not having to enter competitions and just sort of creating music for my own outlet and for my own interests. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I don't think I really had as much intention with it growing up, but nowadays I use it as a tool to collaborate with other musicians and to make some funky stuff.
That's great. So what did those early years look like? Were you taking lessons? I know Hawaii ukulele players come at the instrument from such a different standpoint from somebody who's I picked it up from my grandpa's closet in Nebraska or wherever.
Right.
What was sort of I don't know, do you have any stories from kind of getting started, and did you go to Royce Akuma's studio?
No, that is definitely the classic story, though. Here in Hawaii, Royce Akuma has dominated the ukulele learning scene, and I love that. I can't say I've ever went to the studio, though. My brother was my main teacher as well. I did go to Ukulele Hale under Gina Tsunada for a little bit. And who else? I learned from Bruce Shimabukuro a little bit as well.
Cool.
But TJ was definitely my main and most strict teacher.
How so?
I guess when it's your brother, there's no professionalism in the sense where they sometimes are really positive and uplifting. Not saying that he's not positive or uplifting, but he was very much expecting me to get things that maybe were totally out of my range and level, but I think that in that way it forced me to advance at a much quicker rate than I would have in a more traditional ukulele learning setting. And in fact, I would get in trouble, like not in trouble, but when I was taking lessons, my teachers would often get frustrated because I'm taking what I'm learning from that class, going home, and my brother would sort of teach me again, and I would come back and they're like, where are you learning this? Like, this is not part of our schedule. And so, yeah, I think he was my main teacher.
That's great. And that kind of leads into like your style that you've picked up over time. I've noticed in some of the more recent videos, especially from like Ukulele where you were jamming with Brittany, I noticed that you're a very patient player. Like you're doing your thing, and it feels very much like you got nowhere to be. You're just like existing in that one musical moment, and that's kind of a unique thing for ukulele players. How did that come about?
That's interesting. I have been told I'm really patient, and maybe it bleeds into my music. That's interesting. I've never heard of it being put that way before. But I guess that's something that, not to sound like a broken record, I did learn from my brother, was to really ruminate in the silences and the nuances of music instead of being concerned with like filling every void, if that makes sense.
That's, yeah. It's a unique thing. It's a wonderful thing to bring to the table when everybody else plays all the time.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I do love like rock music and being super loud and in the face, but I think as a musician, I want to sort of expand on more of the silence and, patient, quiet moments.
Cool. So what are you up to these days with your music? Are you out performing anywhere?
Not as much. I was performing at restaurants weekly for the past few years, and up until COVID, I kind of put a stop on that. Now I do a lot of private or corporate gigs, but I'm actually working on my first EP this year. And songwriting in general actually is something I'm working on this year. I have never felt comfortable doing that until probably the Ukulele Site podcast is where I got like that inspiration to, maybe I'll like go into trying to create something of my own instead of covering everyone else's music all the time. So this year I'm trying to focus on being original.
Super cool. Is that this most recent podcast, or have you been on there in the past?
That was my first time being on there, and the most recent one.
Nice. Well, I watched the whole thing and loved it. It was a
Thank you.
Treat to watch you play and get the whole thing.
How long have you been playing ukulele? I've watched some of your stuff and it's great too.
What's that?
I've watched a lot of your stuff and it's great.
Oh, thank you. I've been playing since like 2005. Basically, when my family moved out here, that was like the first thing. Like, hey, there's ukulele lessons and an ad for ukulele lessons in the paper, and went down to like Parks and Rec in Kona and started taking lessons, and then fell into kind of the Hawaiian music scene with the kahumokus and never really looked back. Just super fortunate to be able to study with a lot of really amazing Hawaiian musicians and be a part of that. So,
oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a fun ride.
Yeah, before 2005, had you touched the instrument at all?
No, not at all. I played a little bit of piano, but it was just kind of like, little kid, something to do.
Yeah.
Sort of, as opposed to like, I love music, and then ukulele hit, and it was like, I love music.
I feel like piano is a really good way to start. That's how I started as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which pieces of it do you feel like translated over to ukulele? It was like, or do you still play?
I don't play, like piano I do not play very well. I like to dabble, but ukulele is definitely my more comfortable instrument. But I feel like the piano, the layout of the keyboard is how I kind of view the layout of the fretboard. Like it really helps me. I'm not a really strong music reader or anything, but I find myself, if I'm looking for a note, like envisioning the piano keyboard. and then layering that onto the fretboard. Does that make sense?
Well, kind of. It's super interesting to hear you say that because I'm in the middle of putting together some content on like learning the fretboard and memorizing and like using scale sequences and stuff to internalize that. But I always contrast the ukulele to the piano in that the ukulele is like a matrix of notes where you have multiple places to play the same thing. And that's what blows everybody's mind at first. Like, I don't get it. I don't know where I'm at. But then the piano is really straightforward because it's all linear. There's only one place to get middle C.
That's true.
So I'd be curious, like, how in your head are you seeing that translate from the linear piano onto the individual strings?
I guess, yeah, piano is way more linear, but I guess in my head, like, I didn't learn a lot of music theory growing up, so when I was trying to figure out, like, a scale, I would, like, play it in my head on the piano keyboard, and then that's how I'd find the notes on the ukulele. So it's like two sides of a similar coin to me, but they are actually, now that you verbalized it, I'm like, they are totally different. But I needed to learn, I feel like if I didn't play piano or learn the scales on the keyboard, I would not have been able to develop in certain ways on the ukulele.
So are you seeing like the chromatic scale, like how many black and white keys are between where you are and where you need to go?
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear your take on that. When is that going to come out?
Soonish, couple weeks probably. I'm like putting, it's like videos for YouTube, and then I'm gonna try and herd people to my website so I can have their email and correspond with them. But then, like, if you register, you get the packet of some tabs and a practice routine kind of thing.
That's exciting.
But like for me, and I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like I really developed my knowledge of getting around the instrument from scale sequences. Like Herbotta Jr. early on told me, like, practice your scales like in 3s and in 4s, and don't just play them all in order. And so for me, I spent a lot of time drilling that stuff up and down, and that I feel like that really helped me. That's
so awesome. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at, like, this year, like really knowing my theory and scales and shapes. I love that you learned that in the beginning. For me, I learned a lot of flair and like, wow, that looks so cool in the beginning. And so people assume like, wow, she must really know the instrument. But in reality, I'm like, dude, I don't even know my scales.
So what kind of flair and where did you pick that up?
I guess I learned a lot by watching, and a lot of the really popular ukulele players do some really cool tricks. Not saying that it's not difficult, but it's not what I feel like my strong suits are not super theoretical, and that's why I should have started with my scales first. So I really look forward to learning from you when this comes out.
Well, I'll send you a link and you can have a look. That's interesting though, because I feel like the casual nature of the ukulele has brought it to a wide audience in the Western world, you know, the mainland and stuff, where people are lawyers and accountants and they're like math people and science people and whatever, and the theory helps them wrap their brain around it. But then they also get stuck in thinking that, you know, they have to think everything through. It's like, no, just play it. Just do it. I promise it's going to be fine. And when somebody like yourself comes along who like has more of the just play it side of things, I for me, it seems like it's harder to develop that later, and you can always learn theory.
I guess so. I suppose. Yeah. Theory, learning it has been so humbling, though. It's like the more I feel like I'm understanding, the more I realize I don't know. And it's beautiful and stressful.
Oh, no. That's not the big sales pitch.
Beautifully stressful.
Yeah. So what does your practice routine look like? Are you sitting down for chunks of time to study this stuff?
I'm trying to be very deliberate now, where I also like leave my ukulele outside of the case. which is of course not recommended, but it's surprising how much like just having to take it out and set up the area somehow affects my motivation. So I like to always have it at the ready or next to me. I've been like trying to listen to music and immediately play it and relay it on the ukulele and try to do that. And I don't know, like I'm trying to develop more of a practice schedule. But I also think I may have some sort of attention deficit disorder sometimes.
So what kind of music are you trying to figure out? Like when you sit down to learn something?
I'm trying to cover a lot more electronic music these days. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's been fun.
So is that, I mean, Britney comes immediately to mind. Is that a connection point for you two?
Possibly. We should connect over that more. I love her cover of Titanium so much, but I don't think that's necessarily why I started. I think for a while I had sort of put the ukulele down, like in the pandemic, and wasn't feeling really motivated to play because I didn't really listen to the type of music that I had been playing a lot. And I was getting really into electronic music. And I think what sort of keeps me motivated to practice has been like giving myself the challenge of trying to play the music that I'm listening to, which for some reason has been a lot of electronic music.
So what is your process for transferring that over? Are you trying to like create acoustic versions of those songs, or are you trying to like capture the whole beat and everything?
I'm trying to create acoustic versions of them. I've also been trying to get into production as well, so it's kind of been helping me to like dissect songs and take them layer by layer and like apply that to the ukulele. But yeah, I think mostly is what I'm trying to do is to create an acoustic version of electronic songs. I always appreciate when the artists come out with acoustic versions of their songs, so I'm like, maybe I'll beat them to it. But it's rekindled sort of this like love for the instrument for me. I think I sort of lost the spark for a few years. And now I'm just kind of like, like I need to stop taking myself so seriously and just like have fun with it and see where that goes. And just be deliberate about at least playing the instrument and creating something, like anything, every day.
Yeah, good for you. That's something that I definitely lost during COVID and have had a hard time getting back to. It's like playing gigs is one thing, but practicing.
Yeah, and I think playing gigs, which is what I was doing for a long time, like every week, was great, but I was sort of burning out and didn't play for myself anymore. As soon as I got home, I'm like, I'm done. I'll see you next week, ukulele. But now I don't do any sort of restaurant gigs, and I just solely want to use it to create and maybe make content. That would be really fun, but it's not like my job anymore, which I love.
So you have a side gig or a side hustle, main hustle.
Yeah, restaurant gigs were, I guess, one of my like primary sources of income for a while, which is really fun. But I think when your hobby is also like your main source of income, it kind of gets hard, for me at least, to find the joy in it, or like just the casual, fun joy in it. For me at least. I know a lot of people can find the balance, but for me, I was burning out and just not creating things for myself.
Yeah, it's tricky line to balance on, for sure. Unlike a lot of virtuoso players, you sing very well. Where did that come from?
I love to sing in the shower. Like, I have my own concerts nightly, and I guess I never even considered myself a singer, but when I was playing at restaurants, I needed to fill in 2 hours of time instead of just a quick 15-minute like ukulele shred. I was just like, oh my God, I think I have to sing. And it honestly makes me so nervous to sing in public still, but I do love it a lot. That's kind of just how it started. Like, it was never as deliberate as I think it should have been. It was mostly just to fill in time, and then I realized, oh, I think this works.
It sounds awesome.
But yeah, I'm trying to be more deliberate with that too. I grew up singing a lot of Hawaiian music. And I want to see if I can sort of translate that onto my EP, like traditional Hawaiian falsetto style with like a modern twist. It'd be kind of fun.
Wow. Okay. So I haven't run across any material that sounds remotely like that. So that's exciting to hear.
That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. So where does that come from? Is that your family that came from?
It's so funny. No, I guess maybe my dad. My dad would listen to a lot of traditional Hawaiian music, a lot of Junoa Keawe. We would watch a lot of live music, but no one in my family really sings or has sung, especially Hawaiian. So yeah, I'm not too sure, honestly, where that came from, but it's always been one of my favorite genres. And as someone who learns like very kinesthetically or like is a very audio based learner, I just sort of picked it up by listening to it constantly. And then in my early like adulthood life, I was able to get mentored a little bit by Tony Conjugation, who like really drilled in like traditional theories and styles of singing falsetto that I've sort of been able to expand on later in life.
That's super cool.
He's amazing.
So
what kind of stories are there behind the curtain? Any fun memories from that?
I wish I didn't take so many things for granted. That was when I was like 19 years old and I was working at an ukulele factory, and he was sort of connected with them, and he like ran into me at a gig where I was singing Alika, and he's like, I could really make you sound a little better. Like, yeah, by all means, please. So we would meet like once a week for several months. And looking back at it now, I wish I had been taking it a little bit more seriously. Of course, I was 19 and young, but I didn't think I realized just how amazing that opportunity was until like now, where I'm like, oh, I should have been soaking that in a little bit more, or I should have been listening to my piano teacher when she was talking about the chromatic scales a little bit more, you know?
Yeah, that sweet, sweet regret, especially here in Hawaii where we are like rubbing shoulders with all these people.
Yeah, and I think that happens so much that I forget to really revel in, man, this is a good opportunity. Like, make sure you're listening.
I think that's also part of the charm, though, is that it's almost so normal that it's just like, yeah, this is what we do. It's like we're just hanging out with these people, and then it's only very, very much later you realize, oh my gosh.
That's so true.
So you worked at an ukulele factory?
I was working at the Koloho Ukulele Factory for a couple of years before I became a kanilea artist. And learning how the ukulele instrument is built, was really interesting to me too. I don't think I truly valued every step of like a fine handmade ukulele until I saw the inside of a factory and had to give tours, which, yeah, I would give the tours of the factory every day. And yeah, that was a really fun part of my life. That's when I was like 19 years old and wild.
So were you helping to build, or were you just...
No, I wish. That is something
facing.
I would have loved to help to build, but I was mostly selling ukuleles and giving tours of the factory. I thought it would be a little, like, sometimes I would get a little scared that I may cut my finger off. And so, as much as I wanted to work in the factory, it was too much of a scare for me because I'm so clumsy and, again, get distracted. I'm like, that is just a recipe for a missing finger. So I'll just give the tours and appreciate from a distance.
Cool. So you must have learned a lot about, like, the tone and what makes an ukulele as an instrument kind of...
Yes.
Work.
That, and also the different types of wood affecting sound was really fascinating to me. I don't think I realized exactly why koa, for example, was so valuable until working there, or how different strains of wood affect the tone of the instrument. like that alone is really fascinating. Or how many steps go into creating one of these is amazing. And I totally understand why premier ukuleles are priced the way they are compared to like one you'd find at an ABC store, which is something I, for some reason, didn't realize until being immersed in that.
Well, it's easy to take it for granted, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a really fun time in my life.
That's a treat. So did you run across plenty like famous ukulele players while you were in the shop?
I think so. I get starstruck really easily too. I guess it's easy to do in Hawaii because we're just brushing shoulders with people all the time. I would run into like I guess John Yamasato was one person I could say I was initially starstruck by, but he would come in like pretty frequently, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's John Yamasato, Pure Heart, or who else was there? Kaikena Scanlon. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that artist. He came in one day, and he's a great, and I guess he's not primarily an ukulele player, but he's one of my favorite like, local singers. And yeah, I just went straight. I, for some reason, gave him my ukulele case, and like, I walked home with my ukulele without a case. I got so nervous, but yeah. He bought an ukulele, they gifted him a ukulele, and because he had a gig that day, and I'm like, oh, do you have a case? And he's like, oh no. I'm like, here, take mine. Well, what was I thinking? And I went home without my case. But yeah, there were definitely a lot of famous musicians that came by, and yeah, I would just give them things and giggle, and it was fun.
That's super cool. Now you're with Kanilea, though. What is that like?
It's amazing. I think their values in terms of how they have an initiative to replant forests really aligns with my values and what I'm trying to do as an artist too. And it's only been several months now, but it's been really great. They're an amazing ukulele brand, and they make the most, just such beautiful instruments. All the like premier ukulele brands here do make beautiful instruments, but I think it's really important for me to align my values with the business I'm representing as well.
So you say aligns with your like musical values. Do you see that kind of stuff coming through on the EP?
I think so. I hope so. I have a lot of history as like a younger adult in like conservation work and sustainability, and I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I do hope to let that shine through as in my EP and as a musician. And I think a big step was like aligning with Kanilea and helping to replant forests. We'll see how it will shine through in my EP. That is in the works. But yeah, I think I do hope to do that.
That's super cool. What kind of conservation stuff were you doing?
I was in like the National Forestry Service, and my high school, it's called Kupu, and it was more of like a conservation-based alternative to traditional high school. So that was fun too, because everyone like in that class, which was only a class of 8, let me sidebar that, but everyone would always have an ukulele, and we would just always play on like the shuttles to Kaneohe, where we would work in natural farms all day. On breaks, we would just play music together, like Kanikapila style, and I think that's what I'm trying to rekindle, like get back into, because in the between time from that high school experience to now, I think I sort of lost the touch of just appreciating the Kanikapila like jam session style. But yeah, that was my high school experience, or my conservation-based experience. So through Kupu, I got my high school degree in conservation work instead. And then they sent me to California for a little bit after graduating high school to like exchange knowledge and I guess thoughts with people in California about their conservation issues, and we sort of switched places. I think they went to the Big Island actually, and then we went to California and sort of did forestry work up there. But yeah, ever since I haven't been as immersed in that now since I got a job and like went into a totally different field professionally, but I hope to make it shine through because that's a huge part of who I am.
That's great. That's always the artist trick of connecting the dots of this is what's in my head. How does it get into the project and come out in the music?
Yep.
So can you share a little bit about the EP, how it's coming together, where you're recording, what the songs are going to be like, or is it under wraps?
It's very much under wraps, but all I can say is that, I guess not all I can say. I don't have a lot of experience, obviously, in recording, but I'm super excited to finally collaborate with a lot of my friends who have experience in this. So I think the main takeaway is that it's going to be a very collaborative experience. And maybe a nonsensical one, but it should be a lot of fun. And any tips are very much welcomed from you or anyone on recording or writing. But I do want to take my time with it as well as my first one. But the goal is to finish it by the end of this year.
So do you have the songs done yet?
I have one, but I'm trying to hopefully aim for 8. We'll see. We will see.
That's pushing out of an EP.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's like an old school LP where they had long songs on, and you could only fit so much on the vinyl record.
How much is usually on an EP?
I thought an EP was more like 4 or 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I don't know what the minimum is for like a considered a full length. I'm not sure on that.
Huh. Scratch that. We're doing 4 songs. We are doing.
But
for some reason, I thought EPs had to have 8 songs. That is beautiful. 4 that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, my impression was it was always just kind of like, let's get something out the door, and just because I did an EP and an LP, all self-produced, self-recorded, self-everything, and it was like doing the EP was a lot, and then you get to the LP, it's like, whoa, okay, I know why people do this.
That is amazing. That's the thing. I'm trying to learn how to produce and record at the same time that I'm trying to make my first EP. So it's kind of scary, but
yeah, I mean, the main tip I can say is just like, don't make the playing a part of that. Have everything like just so practiced that part's easy. Because if you're like trying to get a good take, and then you're also pressing the space bar to start and stop the recording, then it's really stressful. But if you can avoid like the music part of the stress and just think about the tech, is pretty super helpful.
How long have you been recording or knowing how to produce as well?
Since like 2010 probably. I had a friend who was like had some gear and was like, hey, let's, you play cool stuff, like let's record some of it. And so it's just like no acoustic treatment, just like in his room, with kids crying next door and all kinds of noise and stuff. And then it's slowly just been a progression of learning about it, and now I have a pretty cool, simple but quality setup. And I treated my room a while back, which was
that is awesome.
Pretty big deal as far as like sound quality and being able to not worry about echoes and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. What kind of instruments have you been playing? Do you play a tenor?
I play tenor. I'm super spoiled.
Nice.
Right.
As you should
Lucky
be.
are we who live in Hawaii.
Yes.
Well, this is like exceptional.
Oh my god, look at that headstock.
But I've been, yeah, the little Kalo Big Island.
Oh my god, that's stunning. Oh my god, it is the Big Island. I'd love that. What?
Yeah, so I've been friends with Chuck Moore for years and years and years and years and years. And he built, this is the newer one, but he built an older one back in 2013, I think. And I've been playing that as my only ukulele since then, basically. but then the frets started to wear out because I played super heavy-handed, so I'm like literally wearing dents in the frets, and I don't know. It doesn't feel that exceptional to me because it's what I do. But everybody I run across is like, I've never had to even think about refretting an ukulele. But like my kamaka is like, that's pretty much where the end of the road was. Is like, it's not even comfortable to play anymore because it's like, if you try and bend the strings, it was like boink, boink, boink.
Oh my God, that's incredible. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah. So practice your light touch, people out there.
You must have really good grip strength. That's crazy.
I think it must come from, I don't know how it is for you, but for me, growing up, it was never like sure, I listened to Jake and Herb and Brittany and was inspired by them, but the majority of the music that I listened to was all like guitar players, like Santana and Eric Johnson and like those kind of guys. And especially like Eric Johnson does the big Clapton kind of rock bends.
Yeah.
And so trying to cop that style on the ukulele, I sort of feel like that's maybe where that originated.
I think that's awesome. Like, I hope to one day indent my fretboard. That's like the seal of a true artist.
Good luck. Yeah, I mean, most people say that would be bad technique, but that's just...
I don't think so, no.
What happens, it's how it came out. But yeah, so I have these two, and I keep one in GCEA.
Nice.
For teaching and playing with normal people, and then this one's a half step down because my band and I decided that I play in kind of a rock band, and we decided let's tune down so it'd be easier to sing, and also it just kind of sounds bigger as a band. So we've been trying that out.
That's awesome. I've realized too, like a lot of songs that I'm trying to cover, like the electronic music I've been trying to cover, I have to adjust the tuning of my instrument, which I have never really had to do before, and that's always really fun. I think that's awesome.
When you do that, are you finding an open tuning or some sort of a tuning that works with the song, or are you tuning to a key that works better still with ukulele shapes?
I'm usually just tuning according to the song. Like, I honestly am just sort of like feeling it out. I don't even know what the vision is, but I'm like, I can't find this on my normal tuning for some reason, or it's really difficult. Like, I feel like I should try it this way, and I end up having to tune like all the strings, maybe half step down, and it'll work. I'm like, I don't know what I just did, but that's cool.
Do you keep record of it, or like how many tunings are we talking?
I've tried with a handful, and I should keep record. Sometimes I'm like, okay, when I figure this out, like I'll write this down, and then I get just lost in the sauce of like, whoa, this is different, and then I go back to practice the next day. I'm like, what did I do? But yeah, I think tuning down or just tuning differently on the ukulele is a really fun thing to do that I didn't really explore until this year.
Nice. Yeah, it's just like that fresh perspective of not knowing where anything is.
Beautifully stressful.
Cool.
Is that the name of the EP?
Yeah.
So what is you're working on the EP? What else are you kind of putting in the hopper for this year? Any other intentions or things you're working on?
Yeah, actually tonight I have a recording with Honoka. We're gonna do some videos to send out to maybe like do more corporate gigs on the outer islands. Like that's something we're trying to do. We have gigged a lot together in the past on like the Disney cruise or Spam Jam. With other people, of course, but we thought maybe we could gear towards like being a corporate ukulele duo.
And what is your experience jamming with her? Like, what do you each bring to the duo?
She's awesome. I think in a way we're very different as artists, but together it creates a really cool harmony. Like we did it. Somewhere Over the Rainbow / Elvis medley with singing ukulele once. And we're like, wow, this really worked together. Like, that was really fun. Like, we should do this more often. I think she has a really beautiful, melodic, harmonious voice and style of playing. And of course, she can also shred like crazy. And I think for me, I have a lot of background in Hawaiian music, and we have a very similar upbringing with the ukulele as well, but somehow together it works really well. And I think this year we're trying to see where that can maybe take us in terms of like a little side hustle with the instrument and getting to travel and see the outer islands a little bit more.
Nice. So if that gets posted up, where will people see that, and where can people follow you and learn more about what you do?
I think for me, I'm trying to create more content as well. So in my case, if anything, it would be on my Instagram, Maia Shizue, Maia This year, I'm trying to be a lot more deliberate as well about content creation, because I think that's so much fun. So it doesn't take the fun out of creating for me, but it's a nice challenge. So yeah, if anything, I'll be collaborating a lot more with musicians on my content page, on my Instagram page. And hopefully posting more covers and originals. I got an Audigo mic this month, so I think it's about to get serious.
Nice. I'm not familiar with that brand, but it sounds like it's action.
It's nothing like super fancy, but it's those mics that I don't know if maybe we're on a different side of the algorithm, but I've been seeing their ads for months and months. It's this microphone that's geared towards people who are making content with instruments, and it's supposed to record simultaneously with your video, and you can like instantaneously change the EQs. But I've seen a lot of ukulele players, like I think his name is Timmy Cruz. I think I saw him playing it. He was the first person that I knew like using it, but it seems to take all the stress out of people who are not super technologically inclined like myself. And yeah, it should make recording a lot easier in terms of getting good quality audio for reels and stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah, I've definitely noticed that for me, the big hang up is syncing. Like making the videos, no problem, but you want me to export it out of the camera and then sync my audio and my video. Like that's too much. So like I've been going right into OBS lately, and that's really helped with the workflow.
What is that?
It's like gamers use it to stream their games out, and to like when they have their little overlay in the corner and the Twitch chat is all coming through on their video. That's all usually through OBS. But you can also use it to like this is my webcam, and usually I'll just record my webcam to a file on my computer.